family, friends. I'm Dr. Doll, and I have laryngitis. You remember a couple videos back, I mentioned that my kids get me sick at least once a month. I wasn't exaggerating. They get me sick all the time. I was even super duper careful, like for the last several weeks, you know, just making sure I always had Germ-X on me and like washing my hands and not, you know, exposing myself to too many people, and like still flippin' got sick. You know, it's hard when you have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. They just pick up things. They're like little petri dishes of bacteria and germs, and obviously I'm around them a lot throughout the day, so it's, you know, it's like it happens. So I'm going to try my best to talk, but I don't have much of a voice at the moment, and so I'm sorry I sound like a toad. This isn't my normal voice. If this is the first time you're watching, I don't normally sound this sultry, but I only have like a lower, you know, range. Like I can't talk in my normal range because then I sound like this, but I can talk down here a little bit better. So I'm going to speak like I'm a tenor today. So I wanted to try something a little bit different. I sound so ridiculous. I like this top, by the way. I went to JJill for the first time yesterday, and I bought this top. I really like JJill because their clothes are so comfortable. They're like, like, my goal as a mom is to feel like I am just wearing pajamas 24/7 every day. Like, I just want to live in pajamas. And that's exactly what JJill's clothes feel like when you wear them. They just feel like you're wearing pajamas. They're so comfortable. And hi, Charlie. I first discovered them by, I think I bought like a dress at a thrift store, and I wear it all the time. It's so comfortable, but I'd never actually been into the store, so I went yesterday for the first time. They're like regular stuff is like really expensive. Like, I think this top normally was like $90, which is ridiculous. It does wash well, I will give them that, which I'm willing to spend a little bit more on clothes that you can like wash well and wear well. Also, I don't know if this is true for every JJill, but the one that's closest to me is in a really like uppity part of town, like highfalutin kind of. There's a lot of like rich people there. So it was just me in like my Triceratops hoodie and sweatpants and Birkenstocks, and then a bunch of really rich old white ladies. And they were all like dressed to the nines, and like one of them she was like buying a new wardrobe for a 3-month cruise that she's getting ready to go on. And I was like, I felt kind of like I didn't belong. But I was just back in the sales racks. They were having a really big sale. So it was like 60% off of their already clearance stuff. So like this top I got for like $10. It was ridiculously cheap. And it's so comfy. It literally feels like a pajama shirt. And it kind of looks like a pajama shirt, but I'm fine with it. But like, so I was like scouring through the sale racks. And then I think the dressing room lady kind of got annoyed with me because there's like, they have like a system set up. Again, I don't know if this is every JJill in the country, but like I'm used to going shopping and like holding everything myself and then going into the fitting room, trying stuff on, And then, like, I'll go and I'll either put what I don't want back on the, like, go back rack, or I'll just put it back myself, because I used to work retail way back in the day. I worked at Macy's, and I worked in the fitting rooms. I know what a hell, what a hellhole that can be. So if I try it on a lot, I will just put it back where I found it. And so I tried on a bunch, and then I started to, like, take it out and try to put it back. And the lady in the fitting room was like, yes, excuse me, miss, you just leave this all there. We have a system. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just trying to help. And she's like, no, yes, I understand, but we have a system in place, so please do not put your items back yourself. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know the proper etiquette, apparently. So, I felt a little bit hickish going and shopping there. But I did find some really good sale items. I found this top, and I found a couple of, because all their, like, fall, winter stuff was, like, 80% off. And like I said, it's just, like, it's so comfortable. Like, you're, like, living in your pajamas, and I'm all about getting behind that kind of lifestyle. Anyways, that was an enormous tangent, and I'm so sorry. Today, I want to try something new. This is totally ridiculously ambitious and probably really stupid of me to try. I've never done this before. So when I was a little girl, I didn't have a lot of American Girl dolls. I had Molly up until I was 11. She was my only American Girl doll. But I did have a lot of one particular type of doll, and that was Barbie dolls. I had tons of Barbie dolls, mostly because they were cheap. You could find them anywhere. My family went to Walmart because that's the kind of family we were. And so we would pick up, you know, Barbie dolls if they're not too expensive. And I've been watching a lot of Barbie makeover tutorial videos lately, and I just really want to try my hand at it. I also want to try my hand at rerooting. So I bought, sorry. I bought this weft of synthetic hair from the Dollyverse. It's this gorgeous, kind of matches my new top. It's this gorgeous, like, soft pink color, and it says Pros, number 38. I got this off of their Etsy shop, and I also bought a rerooting tool. It's from the Dollyverse, and like I said, I've seen some tutorials, but I know that just from experience with American Girl dolls, watching a tutorial and actually doing it are super different. So I bought this pack of 3 Barbies at my local thrift shop for like $5. I've got this like 1999 Barbie that's super messed up. She's got like marks all over her legs, a weird string in her back. This one, which is newer, 2006, new-ish. She has a really pretty face, but her hair's a mess. And then this is the Evie from Descendants doll. So she's probably the newest of the 3. And I'm gonna try and reroute and work on one of them. I have 3. I'm really worried about taking the head off without breaking anything, and then putting it back on again without breaking anything. So I have 3 shots. I don't know if they all have the same mechanism in the head. I'm guessing probably not. But we're gonna see what happens. So this might be a huge win. This might be an enormous disaster, but you're along for the ride. At least I hope you are. So we're gonna find out how this ends together. So I just cut the hair shorter to make it easier to pull the roots out, and I'm using these small tweezers. There's probably a better instrument out there to do this with, but this is what I had. So you can see me here just pulling the roots out one by one. This actually took me way longer to do than I was anticipating. They make it look so easy on the tutorials that I've watched, but pulling these roots out, like, it took forever, and maybe there's a trick that I just don't know, but I want to say it took me 30 minutes probably to get all the roots out. Yes, you can see my adorable son here. Of course, he had to sit in my lap while I was doing this, and he's such a camera hog. He just wanted to smile at the camera, show the camera his little toys, and be adorable. So here is what the head looked like with all of the roots out. Again, it took me about 30 minutes to get all of them out. And then it made a big fat mess, so I had to clean it up. Then I started to take the old paint off using acetone. I had to scrub a little bit because some of that paint was really stuck on there. Is what her face looked like with all of the paint wiped off. So here is the rooting tool that I purchased. I think the needle size I bought was an 8, so very small needle size. This is my very first time rerooting hair, and boy, I really didn't know what I was doing. I thought I did because I watched so many tutorials, but it is so much more, it's so different doing it in person than it is like watching it. And I made a huge mess with the hair there. Like you'll see, it got all tangled up, and it became a huge fat mess. So and I just had trouble getting it on the needle in the first place. They make it look so easy in all the videos I was watching, but I just kind of like fumbled around for a long time trying to find a rhythm, and eventually I kind of did, but it was a lot of just me sort of flailing around and trying to figure it out. It's kind of cringy to like watch this back and see just how bad I was failing at some of this. So you can already see here that wad of hair is just becoming so tangled up, and it gets worse, trust me. Like I wish I could tell you
that it gets better, but it doesn't. It gets worse. Looking back, I should have just separated each individual strand, but I didn't really know what I was doing, and so it became this huge fat mess, and eventually the lengths started to be different, and it affected the overall quality of the rooting job. I would definitely do a lot of things different. So, hard to watch. For those of you who have no idea what it means to reroot or to root in hair, essentially you are creating the effect of natural, real hair by rooting individual strands or very, very small sections of hair into many different holes on the top of the head. And a lot of dolls have rooted hair like this. Oh yeah, and this was about the time where I realized, I didn't paint the top of the head the same color as the hair, and so you can see me trying to do that because I had forgotten. So I'm doing that here. But yeah, rooting is just like, instead of having a wig that's like totally separate that you glue on to the head, the hair is actually like attached. It's inside the head. It's all sort of attached, and the strands are all individual. So that's what I'm doing here. This is what her head looked like when it was all done, and to keep the roots in place, I put some tack craft glue in her head, and it takes about 2 hours to dry. I think I overdid it a little bit with the glue, but we won't talk about that. So there's different techniques to like get the hair to like lay flat at the top. The one I liked the best was this. You just cover the head with a damp towel, and then you just touch an iron to it, and it kind of flattens it out on top and makes it look nice. So here I am just using a small fluffy brush and some pastels to give her face a little bit of contour and just warmth, and then I go in with my pencils. I have some pastel pencils and some watercolor pencils that I use, and I'm just outlining her brows right now. I really wanted her brows to be perfect. So I just took my time, and I think they came out pretty well. And then I go ahead and outline some of the rough details in brown. I thought black would be too harsh, so I'm just using the brown pencil to sort of go ahead and get the shape and outline of her eyes. So here I'm just using my white pencil to fill in the whites of her eyes. I'm just sort of color mapping at this point, seeing and playing around with the colors and where I want them to be. It also kind of helps me to make adjustments here and there with the overall outline. Then I go over her lips with white pastels just so that when I put the paint on, it'll look more opaque. You can see that I'm juggling family life here, and also my husband doesn't realize I'm filming, and so he sticks a Swiffer duster in front of me, in front of my face and in front of the camera, so that's always fun. It gets a little difficult to film, but it's always fun. It's always entertaining, right? Once I have a rough outline with the pencils, I can start going in with the acrylic paint. I am using like the finest brush. I think it's a lash, or sorry, not a lash. What am I talking about? A nail art detail brush. So it's like super fine, and it really helped me get those tiny fine line details. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But I'm just, like, my hand was shaking so bad. I've never painted a doll this small before. So it was a huge challenge for me, just because it was uncharted territory. Again, with that really fine brush, I'm going in with the brown, and I'm working on giving her some lower lashes and just lining her eye. I'm trying to be so careful. It's really, really tiny. Props to people who paint dolls smaller than this, or dolls this size, like on a regular basis. It's definitely next level. I am putting on the first layer of her lip color. I chose a metallic sort of bubblegum pink. I wanted it to be a little bit darker than her hair so that it would pop, but I also wanted it to kind of blend in with that whole like pastel-y bubblegum like theme that I was going with, at least in my head. And so I added a little bit extra red, and I think I did 2, maybe 3 coats of the lips. Then I very delicately give her a little highlight, a little white highlight in her eyes, and I was trying so hard to like steady my hand during this because I was so afraid of messing the whole thing up. So I decided at this point to put some lashes on her, some false lashes. I've seen some custom, some doll creators put lashes on their Barbie dolls like Hextian, and I love it. I really should have just stopped before I did this. I think her face paint was looking really good, and I should have just stopped. I should not have tried to put the lashes on, because I think that's when things started going really wonky on the face. And I just had a time getting them to stay, getting them to to not fall off or droop. I finally got them kind of there, and then I finish up with some blushing on the face.
So here she is all finished, and I just put her in a dress I got from Amazon that is not fitting her super well. But I liked the colors, and then these are really cute little pink high heel shoes that I also got from Amazon. I wouldn't go so far as to say that she turned out great, but I also don't think she's terrible. I definitely learned a lot from doing this, and she took quite a lot of time, probably just because I'd never done it before. I'd never ever worked on a doll this small before. I'd never worked on a Barbie before. I'd never rerooted before. So from a distance, she doesn't look too bad. The rooting is a little spotty. She could have definitely used more roots. It is super uneven. There's short strands. I had to use some hairspray because she had short strands poking up here and there. So her hair is just kind of a mess. I do like the color. I think the color's really pretty. And for my first time ever rerooting, it's not that bad, really. At least it's there. You know, I don't think it's horrible, but it's also not fantastic. Look, I definitely missed some spots. Her makeup I was really, really happy with overall, until I put the lashes on, and that's when things started to go astray. I just had so much trouble with the lashes, getting them to stick, getting them to look I don't know. I had so much trouble with the lashes, and you can see it's kind of giving her a lazy eye because her lashes on one side are too low. So that's messed up. But as far as the face paint, I think I did a pretty decent job. Obviously it's not super detailed, but for my first time working on a doll this small, I thought I did pretty good. It's just sort of when I put the lashes on, everything started to go haywire. I gave her green eyes, or at least I tried to, and then I put a shiny gloss over them and the lips, which you can barely see out here. So I'm not unhappy with how she turned out. Obviously, there are a lot of things that could use improvement, though. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it a fail, but it's definitely not a win. I definitely would not sell this doll, because she's just kind of a hot mess with her hair, and then her lashes being too low on one side. She's kind of got a lazy eye going. I don't know. This week, just filming has been really difficult with being sick and everything. It's just been insane. I think I was being ambitious with this one, but I really would like to do more Barbies. I would really like to do more dolls this size. I'd really like to get better at face painting. I'd really like to get good at rerooting. And that just takes practice. It's been about a week since I started filming this video, and I still don't have my voice all the way back, and I still like feel exhausted and sick. So it's just been kind of a difficult week of filming, and I think that's kind of come out in the work a little bit. But overall, I'm happy. You know, my very first Barbie, my very first rerouting job, I think she turned out pretty decently. I see a lot of times on like doll groups that I'm a member of, people want to know tips and tricks for making things look better. And honestly, like, I think the answer is just practice. It's just practice. You just have to keep practicing. You've got to get better at it through doing it. That's how I got better at doing American Girl dolls, is I just kept doing them over and over and over again. They were definitely not good right at the beginning. So the more Barbie dolls I'll do, hopefully they'll start looking better. I tell you what, people who work on miniatures and do painting on miniatures, like that is a level of difficulty that you just don't have to deal with 18-inch dolls. Like, my hand was so shaky trying to get those fine lines and details in. It was really fun. I'd love to do another Barbie. Again, I don't know that I'd call it a win, but I don't know that I would call it a fail either. I think it's just a stepping stone in the process of learning. So I hope you enjoyed. I know that I've kind of been doing some weird things lately, like the Cabbage Patch Kid and the Barbie. I'm just trying to learn some new things. So I hope you enjoyed. I would love to do another Barbie doll in the future and get better at it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and this process, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.